Good morning, everyone. We are going to do this episode podcast style because I want this to be a PSA announcement, and this is going to be for women. Um, I hear so many times that women who do not want to be held accountable are calling other women who are trying to hold women accountable as pick me's and mammies. And it, it's funny because I think it shows how ignorant you are when you call just anyone a pick me and a mammy. So for those who do not know what those terms are, they are derogatory terms that so-called feminists like to find a way to put certain words on people. So while they like to speak about empowering women and stop shaming women, they find it easy to put terms on women who hold other women accountable. So what the term are supposed to mean is so mammy is a derogatory term towards black women. Particularly, it was a term for dark-skinned black women. It was a term that was in the South for women who used to take care of white women's children in the South, and those women were called mammies, and they would care for the Southern white woman child. Typically, that stereotype, the character is the dark-skinned, angry black woman, the old maid kind of character. That's what it was supposed to be. It is a derogatory term. So the other term is something that is more new age. Pick me is when you think about, I can give two examples of that. Pick me is when you got the kid in class who's a really smart kid and they want the teacher to pick them. Oh, pick me, pick me. I know the answer. Pick me, pick me. Or you have whenever it's when it's time for gym and it's you guys are playing kickball and there's this kid who never gets picked and they're just begging to be on someone's team. Pick me, pick me. I want to be on, a team, and they're always last to get picked, right? So when you think about that in terms of relationship, you have women who pander to what men say just to be picked, or they are overdoing it. They're going out their way to be extra so they can be seen by men. Now, when you take that in terms of the content that I'm doing, and as well as other women who are holding women accountable for their actions and their behaviors and their mindsets, you have people that say, oh, well, you are a pick me. Well, one, I'm not a mammy. I'm not even going to go into that. Okay. But I am called a pick me. Now, as you can see, I don't care. You actually sound more ignorant calling me a pick me. But this is what it is here. A pick me is someone who's pandering to what the group that they want to be heard. They're pandering to them so they therefore can be picked. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be picked. I think every woman generally wants to be picked by a man. They want to be chosen. They want to be the wife, because most women dream of being married and things like that. So there's nothing wrong to wanting to necessarily be picked. The idea is you're so desperate. The idea is you are so desperate to be picked that you do anything. Okay. For those who think that, let me make it clear that I have been with my husband for about 13, almost 14 years, and we've been married for almost 12. Who am I trying to be picked by? Okay. So the idea that I'm trying to be picked, no. The idea that I'm pandering, no. What I'm doing is I'm holding women accountable. And so many times, and it's not just me. There's other women that's holding women accountable. Hey, if you are saying that you have all of these dusty men in your life, typically that means you are full of dust, because of all the men that I have interacted with, men I've dated, men I've known, I don't know any dusty men because I don't associate myself with dusty men. I don't know any dusty or trifling women because I don't associate myself with those women. I don't even know many women that are masculine because I don't associate myself with those types of women. Every time I say something about women, it's always, well, what about the men? What about the men? This is not a channel for men. And then if a man says they talk all about women, I do wish sometimes that some of these men would hold other men accountable. And there are channels that do that. And this is why I am part of another channel that holds men and women accountable. So, and that's the Philip Scott show. So the whole point is you want to associate with people who hold each other accountable, because if you're not, then silence shows complicity. And then when you have women who are flocking to channels trying to get an idea of how to be a better, how to be married, they're going to channels, how to be married, how to get this man, how to get this 6-figure man, how to do this, how to do that. If you really want to do that, then you need to go to channels that are going to hold you accountable so you can be what it is you need to be. We need to get out of this world of fake it till you make it. Stop faking it. Actually put in the work. Put in the work to get to the goal that you're trying to get to. So many times we're entitled. We say we want X, Y, and Z, but we're not willing to do A, B, and C. Get off your butt and put in the work. So yes, if you say, oh, you sound mad. No, what I am is I'm irritated about, with the fact that we have ignorant people and they spend so much time pointing the finger at each other, wondering why are you not talking about feminine men? Do you want a feminine man? Then why would I be talking about feminine men? Do you want dusty men? No. So why would I spend my time talking about dusty and trifling and no good men? The goal is for you to get with a man of good character, good substance, good earning, good loving, good all of these things. And the only way you're going to get those men if you do your part and be who you need to be. That's the whole point of all of this. How to be better women. And then the idea that anytime you say anything about femininity, you hear weak. The fact is you're ignorant, because if you even look up the definition of the word feminine, you're not going to see weak on there. What you're going to see is things that are woman-like, ladylike, classy, delicate, gentle, loving, kind, sweet, girly. You're going to see things like that, which is all the things I'm telling you to be. I'm not saying that you need to walk around being prissy, because that's not necessarily who I am. What I am is a woman who has embraced her womanhood. And yes, I am a little bit more traditional, but this is who I am. And I am far from weak. Okay? We can talk about what's wrong with men all day, but that's not what this channel is about. This is not a man-hating channel. This is not a woman-hating channel. What this channel is to hold women accountable so we can be the best versions of ourselves, so thereby we can meet people, not just a romantic partner, but we can meet people, whether in business, in general relationships like friendships and relationships. And when you meet these people, you're going to see the best in them and they're going to see the best in you. And then you guys are also individually on working to be the best version of yourselves. So basically, you are a whole and healed person inside and out. You are not a slave in the mind, because that's the problem with our community, in the Black community. Sometimes we think that, we're free when really we're a slave in the mind. So even though slavery is over, physical slavery, we have been enslaved in the mind because it has been set from us, to break down our families and break down our family unit, our relationships that we have with one another, and to be all about, you're a victim of a selfish love, right? And so you walk around and you're selfish and you don't care about anyone else. You only worry about you and yours, which is where the whole crab in a bucket comes in. And then we can't say, hey, and this is why our children can't be better, because we're so busy worrying about everyone else and what everyone else is doing wrong, like everyone else is the problem and not us. So I'm going to help debunk some of these arguments that you have. So a lot of times you say that men are the problem, and the reason why women are masculine because men are not stepping into their roles of being masculine. Well, then by that stupid logic, yeah, and I said stupid, by that stupid logic, then you can easily say that men realize that women are not being feminine, so men are going to be more feminine because women aren't stepping into their roles. When actually, if you play your role and just play your role, whether or not men do their part, the man that comes into your life will see that you, thereby being a feminine woman, he has to either step into his role of being masculine or be gone. And I'm using scientific logic to explain this, because if you have a battery, the only way a battery can work is when it's properly have the negative and the positive to charge, right? So when you have the negative and the positive aligned appropriately, it's going to create an electrical surge. If you don't believe that, think about how lightning starts, right? Because the lightning starts because there's some type of negative imbalance and negative charge in the sky, usually in the clouds. And when things that are on the ground, like trees and things like that on a ground level, when it has a positive charge, the negative charge from the cloud hits the positive charge that's on the ground, and thereby it creates lightning. And then of course the sound of them clashing together creates thunder. So all of this is scientifically, and this is something that you can think about in relationships. When you are feminine, when you are in your feminine state, okay, ladies, thereby when anyone who approaches you, any man who tries to become, get in a relationship with you, or any person who is either masculine, whether they're not trying to be in a relationship with you, because you're in your state of femininity, they had to set a different role and be masculine. This is the same thing in homosexual relationships. If you notice, it is natural to have an opposite. If you think about, let's say, for example, two males in a relationship together, if you notice, one male is more feminine than the other, because you cannot be in a in a relationship where there's two masculines or two feminine. If you notice, one presumes the role of being feminine and one presumes the role of being more masculine than the other. Think about two women in a relationship. When you think about that, you think one of them is what they call the term, I think there's different terms like butch or dyke. So basically, one woman is more masculine. If you notice, it is by design that one has to be more masculine than the other. So women, if you want a masculine man to be on his grind, to do his role, to meet his responsibilities, to not be dusty, then you have to fit in your role. You can't worry about what he's doing. You have to do what you do. Now let's take it out of that and let's put it in Mother Nature, okay? For those who need a better understanding of how this works. If you plant a tree, if you ever notice, whether it's a fruit tree or whatever it is, something that bears something, right? Bears some type of fruit or flower or something like that. Usually it's Okay, so flowers, when you think about Mother Nature, they are bloomed from ovaries. That's why it's called Mother Nature, because they are actually bloomed out of an ovary. Look it up. If you ever planted a fruit tree, they would tell you always buy two. One is going to be the male version of the tree and one is the female version, because when they get together, it can help properly produce. This is the same in relationships. If you want to properly produce a traditional relationship, romantic relationship, one has to be the traditional feminine, and one has to be in its traditional masculine. And then you can produce something so beautiful from there. Without that, you're going to have two types of personality clashing, whether one is traditional and the other one is modern, or too modern, both trying to clamor in for the masculine position, because usually that's what it is. They're both trying to clamor for the masculine position. Is usually the woman is now trying to do the, if anything you can do, I can do better. And then you have the man saying, well, I'm the man too. But then he's also within the whole worldly view of what it is to be a man, and sometimes it's a distorted view. And then by that, men default to a feminine state when when the woman is competing to be masculine. So he's thereby what you call what people call simps. So he gets out of his masculinity and moves to the feminine. But this is only when he's in competition for that same position of being masculine. There's many traits that make women masculine, and it has nothing to do with appearance. It usually has everything to do with mindset and attitude. I know sometimes I can hit the nail hard, and sometimes it can hurt, it can cut, but it is the truth. It is honest. And that's one thing you will get from me. You will get honesty from me. So I am not trying to put hot sauce on it, but I refuse to put sugar on it. You have seen what I've said about other things and other content where I thought whether the information is true or not, the intent wasn't correct. In this case, my intent on what I'm seeing is to correct toxic behavior. And the toxic behavior of today is blaming others and not holding yourself accountable, being entitled and not wanting to work at reaching your goal, being a microwave society and a society after superficial things and preferences rather than standing on fundamental values and good character. So there's many morals to this story. But to sum it up, for those who are ignorant in the back, is get it together and look in the mirror. Thanks for watching Mrs. Danielle DeVita. Take care.